Listen closely, because this is going to be a real game changer. By visualizing the slightly bizarre mental palace we're about to build together right now, I can literally guarantee that you're going to permanently memorize the incredibly complex legal framework of Article X local government. And the best part? We're going to do the whole shebang in under 10 minutes. So take a breath, prepare your mind, and let's get right into it. Okay, so let's set some ground rules. To make this constitutional information actually stick forever, we're using a space repetition memory system. You really only have two rules for this explainer. Rule number one, deeply visualize the bizarre imagery I described to you. Really see it in your mind. And rule number two, whenever I give you a countdown pause, I need you to mentally recite the answer. Seriously, don't skip those pauses. That is the exact moment the memory gets physically encoded into your brain. All right, let's step into the very first room of our memory palace. I want you to picture a glowing four-step pyramid. Sitting right at the very top of it is a surreal, brightly colored retro telephone, and it's ringing loudly. It's ringing a very specific message, basically a mnemonic. Please call my brother. This stands for the four territorial and political subdivisions of the Philippines under Section 1. That's provinces, cities, municipalities, and barangays. Remember it. Please call my brother. Okay, let's lock it in right now. Using that ringing telephone mnemonic, what are the four territorial subdivisions? 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Now we move into the second room. Hovering above that same pyramid is a giant, glowing, floating eye staring down at the local governments. But notice carefully, the eye has hands, and they're tied tightly behind its back. This represents Section 4, the president's power. The president exercises general supervision over local governments to ensure their acts are within prescribed powers. Notice I said supervision, not control. The hands are tied. The eye can literally only watch to make absolutely sure they're following the rules. Picture that giant, staring eye with its hands tied. What specific power does the president hold over local governments? 3, 2, 1. Moving on, we enter the third room. Sitting dead center is a massive, incredibly heavy golden vault. Suddenly, without anyone even touching it, the vault's gears start turning, and the heavy door just springs open by itself, spilling gold everywhere. You see, local governments have the power to create their own revenues, but more importantly, under Section 6, they have a just share in national taxes. And this imagery brilliantly illustrates the automatic release of those funds. They don't have to beg the national government for their cut. The vault springs open on its own because the funds are automatically released to them. Visualize that heavy golden vault springing open entirely by itself. How are the local government's share of national taxes given to them? 3, 2, 1. All right, step into the fourth room. Dominating this space is a massive high-contrast neon triangle, and spinning rapidly around this triangle are 3 golden rings. This whole setup represents Section 8. Think about it. The neon triangle has 3 sides, right? That means the term of office for elective local officials is exactly 3 years. The 3 golden rings represent the absolute limit. No official shall serve for more than 3 consecutive terms. So 3 sides, 3 rings. It's that simple. Now, what's really interesting here is a little constitutional trap hidden within this rule. First off, this 3-term limit, it actually doesn't apply to barangay officials. Their terms are determined by law. But here is the major catch you need to remember. If a local official decides to voluntarily step down, a voluntary renunciation of their office, it does not magically reset or stop those 3 spinning golden rings. Stepping down voluntarily is not considered an interruption in the continuity of their service for that full term. Those rings just keep on spinning. Bring back that vivid image of the neon triangle and the spinning golden rings. What is the standard term length and what's the maximum consecutive limit? 3, 2, 1. Okay, before we leave this room, let's take a quick look at how the actual borders of these subdivisions change under Sections 10 and 11. Whether you're creating, dividing, or merging a local government unit, or even if Congress is creating a special metropolitan political subdivision, you can't just draw new lines on a map. Both situations require a literal physical vote by the directly affected people in a plebiscite. But keep in mind, even in a big metropolitan subdivision, the component cities and municipalities still retain their basic autonomy and their own local executives. We are now entering the final, and honestly the most surreal room of our memory palace. Floating high up in the sky are 2 distinct, beautiful twin islands. These represent the autonomous regions created in Muslim Mindanao and the Cordilleras. Now, surrounding these floating islands is a glowing, pulsing force field. We're going to call this force field the Organic Act. It's there to protect their common historical, cultural, and economic traits. But notice how the force field doesn't completely block out the sky. That's because it remains firmly under the framework of the Constitution and national sovereignty. Let's see how this phenomenon actually builds. Powering up that glowing force field takes 3 sequential steps under Section 18. First, the president appoints a regional consultative commission. Second, with their help, Congress passes the Organic Act. And third, this is crucial, the force field only turns on if it gets majority approval by the constituent units in a plebiscite. So only the specific areas that vote yes actually get pulled up into the floating island. Just look at the raw energy crackling inside that force field. Section 20 gives these autonomous regions immense legislative powers over their own unique way of life. They control their administrative organization, revenue, ancestral domain, and personal, family, and property relations. They handle their own urban planning, economic and tourism development, educational policies, and even the preservation of their rich cultural heritage. Basically, almost everything related to their daily internal life is governed from right within the island. But that begs the question, who protects the islands? Well, Section 21 draws a very strict line here. Picture local police officers actively patrolling the inside of that pulsing force field. They're responsible for the preservation of peace and order within the region. Now picture the national military standing guard on the outside of the force field. The defense and security of the regions against external threats is absolutely the responsibility of the national government. Focus your mind on those twin floating islands and their glowing force field. What are the 2 autonomous regions, and what document defines their structure? 3, 2, 1. All right, we've made it. The most crucial point right now is making this completely permanent. You've built the palace, you've placed the objects. Now we are entering the final rapid-fire test phase to lock Article X into your long-term memory forever. When you hear the question, summon that bizarre image we built and say the answer loud and clear in your mind. Ready? Picture the giant floating eye with its hands tied firmly behind its back. Flashcard 1. Who exercises general supervision over local governments? 3, 2, 1. Recall that heavy, magical golden vault springing open entirely by itself. Flashcard 2. How is the local government's share of national taxes given to them? 3, 2, 1. Summon that glowing neon triangle spinning inside the golden rings. Flashcard 3. What is the maximum consecutive term limit for local officials? 3, 2, 1. Incredible work. You literally just memorized the core framework of Article X of the Philippine Constitution in just a few minutes. Think about that for a second. If you can perfectly recall a complex legal framework using a floating eye, a glowing pyramid, and a self-opening vault, what other complex systems are you capable of mastering next? Your memory is honestly far more powerful than you probably realize, so go out there and use it.